Okay. Wild Card Weekend. Super Wild Card Weekend begins on January the 9th, 2021. Unlike last year, where I made picks and separate videos for every playoff game, this year and this week only, I'm going to be making all 6 picks in one video. This may end up screwing me in the end, but we'll wait and see. But anyway, let's get started now because as always, I don't have time for this bullshit. So let's go. Alright. Saturday tripleheader starts with the Indianapolis Colts going on the road to take on the Buffalo Bills. The Buffalo Bills have gotten to the playoffs due to the third year rise of Josh Allen. Defense looks a little suspect, but they do, and the running game is kind of middle of the pack, but at least they have a powerful pass offense. Now, with that being said, they're also facing the Indianapolis Colts. And the Colts were a Dolphins win away from missing out on the playoffs altogether. Barring, and not just that, but because had the Dolphins won that game, they would have been out of the playoffs. Had the Dolphins won that game, not the Colts, they would have been. The Colts would have been out of the playoffs altogether. And this is what happens, but this is also what happens when the Colts don't win games that they should win or put teams away and don't blow big and end up blowing big leads at the end of games. At least that was the case with the Pittsburgh Steelers. With the blown lead. And the week 1 hiccup against the Jacksonville Jaguars. As had the Colts won both of those games, they would be hosting a playoff game in the comforts of their own dome in this case. Not having to go on the road to bitter, cold Buffalo. This may be Philip Rivers' last chance to win a Super Bowl. This is Buffalo's first home playoff game since 1995. So yeah, first time in 25 years that has happened. So technically 1996, but who gives a fuck? Right? I mean, anyway, this game is tough for me to pick for obvious reasons, but go ahead and take. I might be making a mistake because the Colts defense is still tops in the league, and the running game, especially of Jonathan Taylor, has all of a sudden picked up a lot of steam, and that's what you need in the play. And that's kind of what you need in the postseason, quite frankly. That plus a game managing quarterback that doesn't make mistakes. The problem is Philip Rivers does tend to make some big mistakes at the wrong time. So with that being said, take the Buffalo Bills to beat the Indianapolis Colts. It's about time Buffalo wins a fucking playoff game. Whatever. Alright. Next up, Rams going on the road to take on the Seattle Seahawks in the rubber match between these two teams. By the way, that game is on Fox, and this game will be on Fox. It'll be the only playoff game on Fox. But anyway, and boy oh boy, this was it. Both those games were really good battles. Oh, with the Rams winning the first one and the Seahawks winning the second one. My issue is, will Jared Goff play? And even if he does play, how effective will he be? The Seahawks defense, which was ranked as one of the worst, especially against the pass, has been playing a lot better since then. Definitely the later portions of the second half of the season. I expect that to continue. Look for the Seattle Seahawks. I will say this: the last time the Seahawks have lost a home playoff game was against the Rams, the then St. Louis Rams, when Matt Hasselbeck was the quarterback of the Seattle Seahawks and Mark Bulger was quarterback of the St. Louis Rams. But anyway, I'm going to go ahead though and take the Seattle Seahawks to defeat the LA Rams. All right, and the nightcapper for Saturday, which is on NBC, the Tampa Bay Buccaneers going on the road to take on the Washington football team. I really should not sleep on this football team, on this Washington football team. For one thing, they are like top 5 defensively. You could thank Ron Rivera and Jack Del Rio for that shit, because Jack Del Rio is still a good defensive coordinator, and Rivera, no one's questioning his ability as a head coach. The reason why he got fired in Carolina was simply because he was there just a few years too long. But that's neither here nor there, and the past is the past. And yes, his former team may have beaten the football team in Week 16, but guess where the Carolina Panthers are at now, though? Bottom line, yes, this is like the worst team. This is like the worst team in the postseason, obviously, but like I said, I shouldn't sleep on this team. But then again, they're facing Tom Brady and the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. All the weapons, and Antonio Brown is actually starting to play football again. That's always a scary sight when Brady and Brown are actually working as a cohesive unit. The only concern is Mike Evans, because Mike Evans might not be ready to go. So that's my biggest concern. I'll take the safe pick. It's very dangerous to make safe picks in the postseason, because the postseason is a different animal. But go ahead and take the Buccaneers to defeat the Washington football team. Would not surprise me, though, if the Washington football team actually advanced to the divisional round, because I've seen bullshit like this happen before. The Arizona Cardinals, but the only difference was the Carolina Panthers in 2014, where they finished 7-8-1. But the only difference was the Arizona Cardinals were down to their third-string quarterback at that point. And then fast forward in 2010, or rewind, to 2010, and the Seattle Seahawks beating the defending Super Bowl champion Saints. And we won't even get... And of course, a year later, the 8-8 Denver Broncos beat the defending AFC champion Pittsburgh Steelers with Tim Tebow at quarterback. Man, can't believe that was a long time ago. But it's hard to fucking believe. But anyway, go ahead and take the Buccaneers. It's to win, I guess. All right, the Sunday triple header. First up, Ravens going on the road to take on the Tennessee Titans. Last two times these teams met, the Titans have won those meetings. The playoff matchup against them in Baltimore, and that shocking upset where Baltimore's defense could not find an answer to stop Chris Henry. And Lamar Jackson, despite putting up good numbers, struggles. I'm going to give Lamar Jackson a break because it's been a long time. Because he's only in his third season. This is only his third season. All right, it took John Elway 4 seasons to win a playoff game. Okay, and it took Peyton Manning 6 seasons to win his first playoff game. So I know I shouldn't be making comparisons like that because it's different times and all that bullshit. But will you relax? Yeah, can people relax a little bit on Lamar Jackson? Come on. I get it. He hasn't performed to the MVP standards like he did last year with the season that he had. But you can't expect any quarterback to maintain that level of MVP type performance year after year after year. This is not that fucking league anymore. Until proven otherwise. All right. And let me talk about the Tennessee Titans because I have not mentioned them enough. Tannehill has actually been playing well this season. He's having the best season of his career by far. I guess that's what happens when you have talent around you. Yeah, when you have talent around you, you're going to be a good quarterback. But when a team fails to build around you because of incompetence and irritation by previous GMs that didn't know what the fuck they're doing, you're gonna fucking struggle. However, with that being said, the meat of the offense is Chris Henry. Why did I say Chris Henry? It's Derrick Henry, who, by the way, ran for 2,000 yards. The first running back to do that in 8 years. There's a very quiet 2,000 yards thanks to his 200-yard performance against the Houston Texans on the final week of the regular season. I mentioned this last year, but it's worth mentioning again until proven otherwise. The road team since 2000, so 20 years ago, has won this particular matchup in the postseason. The Titans beat the Ravens last year because they were the road team. Quite frankly, I expect the same outcome again, but this time with the Ravens winning. And Lamar Jackson has been playing a lot better since he was cleared of all COVID protocol. So go ahead and give me the Baltimore Ravens. I do think this team is finally peaking at the right time, but we'll see about that. And by the way, this game will be on ESPN, ABC, ESPN2, the channel formerly known as the Family Channel. It's now what, Freeform? I think that's what it's called. They're actually doing some and because two channels are doing MegaCast and all that shit. Should be interesting. But I'll just record the game on ABC just because. But anyway, enough talk about that. Take the Ravens. Bears. That's right. The Chicago Bears made the playoffs. Backdoored their way into the playoffs. How did they get there? Why did they get there? Because the Arizona Cardinals did what I pretty much expected them to do on the final week of the regular season, and that's blow that fucking opportunity away. Of course, it wasn't just the final week of the regular season. The Arizona Cardinals were started struggling after their fluke Hail Mary victory, in which, by the way, the Buffalo Bills should have won that fucking game. End of fucking story, but it is what the fuck it is their late season collapse caused them, the Cardinals, to miss the playoffs and allowed the Chicago Bears to make the playoffs. It is what the fuck it is there. And their fate, and this is a rematch of the earlier regular season matchup. I believe Nick Foles was the quarterback last time. Mitchell Trubisky's the quarterback this time. And guess what? I understand. The Saints had to play the Saints had to play full strength because of they were trying to clinch home field advantage and banking on the Chicago Bears to beat the Green Bay Packers. That didn't happen, of course. And this game's on CBS and Nickelodeon and Nickelodeon will have their own commentary team. What's going to happen when one team scores a touchdown? Green slime graphics, computer graphics or something. But the fuck's going on here? But this game will be on CBS. This will be the first CBS. This will be CBS's first NFC playoff game since the 1993 NFC Championship game between the 49ers and the Dallas Cowboys. When the 49ers and Dallas Cowboys actually deserved to be in the national spotlight at the time because of their championships. Just saying. And okay, enough babbling. Take the New Orleans Saints to defeat the Chicago Bears once again. And last up, you might as well call this Sunday Night Football because this game is on NBC. Browns going on the road to take on the Pittsburgh Steelers. The Steelers are kind of banged up right now, so I am a little bit concerned about them. Ben Roethlisberger probably needed a break. Probably needed that rest for the final week because up until the Colts game, he had not been playing well during that 3-game losing streak. And the Browns, congratulations to the Browns, finally making the postseason for the first time in 18 years. God, what a weird season. Both the Buffalo Bills and the Cleveland Browns are in the playoffs. It is what it is. But even when the Browns are actually doing well, the football gods find a way to shit all over them. This time, with the head coach of the Cleveland Browns, Stefanski is not going to be coaching this game due to COVID-19 related issues. Wow. This game is a tough game for me to pick because I don't know if if the Cleveland Browns were to somehow pull off an upset at Pittsburgh, then maybe I will have more faith with the Cleveland Browns. If the Pittsburgh Steelers win, I don't know if they advance any further than the divisional round at that point. Because quite frankly, they're way too banged up to win anything. Go ahead and take the Pittsburgh Steelers, I guess, but but anyway, this should be an interesting wild card weekend, to say the least. To think that this is going to happen every year until possibly 2 more teams make it to the wild card round at some point, and at that point we won't be able to call it wild card weekend anymore because especially if the 2 number 1 seeds have to play in the first round. But anyway, that's at least 2 decades from now. Now, for now, I will enjoy this shit. And that's all I've got to say about that. that we'll see what happens when Wildcard Weekend is all said and done. That's it. That's all. Till next time. Later.